Ah, the sights and sounds of Starbucks. For AM coffee lovers,
Grande cappuccino?
there may be nothing sweeter.
Just a quiet espresso.
Starbucks has created an empire by serving America's coffee cravings.
Yeah.
And that empire started right here at this small store in Seattle.
We've been around since 1971, and when Starbucks first began, we only served whole bean coffee, tea, and spices.
Entrepreneur Howard Schultz bought the six-store Starbucks chain in 1987 and changed it from a simple bean business into a worldwide coffee community.
Starbucks is this place where you walk in, even if you don't know anybody, you're with other people.
Today, Starbucks is operating almost 10,000 stores and outlets all around the globe.
I don't think we ever believed that Starbucks would be as big in terms of number of stores, but it really took on a life of its own.
That life includes buying almost 300 million pounds of coffee each year from 25 different countries around the world. But when it comes to finalizing the flavor of their special Java, everything is overseen at their company headquarters in Seattle, Washington. It's here that teams of testers gather in a special place called the tasting room.
It's really the nerve center for everything we do here at Starbucks. It's where blends are created. It's where quality of everything that we buy is evaluated. Think of it as our think tank. We're looking for nuances. We're not looking for things that are wrong. We're looking for things that are right.
And the search for what's right means participating in a ritual called cupping, a process helping evaluate flavor profiles or as a way to check for defects. When cupping, hot water first pours over coffee grounds. Then spoons break through the coffee crust, releasing the aroma. After a few long snuffles of the scent, it's time to slurp and sip. And then, no matter how nice the flavor is, each sip is spit out, so the testers can avoid ingesting too much caffeine.
You can go through as many as 600 to 800 cups a day of this, so spitting's a really good idea.
And while one group is checking the coffee, another team of tasters in an area called the Liquid Lab is busy inventing new blends and beverages.
We're talking maple today.
I like the idea of it.
We have a diverse group of people on this team. We had food scientists, we have foodies, and we find that's a really good blend to mix sort of the culinary and the science together.
In the case of a possible maple drink, researchers dig into common maple syrup partners like French toast, waffles, and pancakes, looking for inspiration.
Normally during this process when we're brainstorming, we think about all the different kind of flavors that would go with, in this case, with maple. And then we try to bring in some products and taste and come up with sort of what are those nuances that can help us describe the product when we're developing it.
It has to look like maple syrup.
Yeah.
And after a new flavor is formulated, drinks head into product guidance testing, where Starbucks employees sample and judge based on a strict criteria.
They'll trust their gut, and they'll tell us whether the beverages are working or not working, and so we tend to rely very heavily on their experience.
Starbucks is coming up with hundreds of possible drinks each year, but they eventually narrow the field down to 5 or 6 standouts. But with all that testing, it does take almost 2 years for a new beverage to get from initial idea to a finished product. And in the end, they'll fill the famous cup bearing the face of a mythological creature.
She's a siren, and you'll notice that she has 2 tails. The mermaids only have 1.
Heartier than toast and covered with cream cheese, the bagel is bread's crustier cousin, dating all the way back to the 17th century.
The most famous folklore story really was the one in 1683, where it is said that a Jewish baker wanted to pay tribute to a king who had saved his Austrian town from the Turks' invasion. And what he did was he developed a bagel product, a round product in the shape of a stirrup, because this king was a horseman.
By the 1800s, Europeans had brought the bagel to America. And one of those immigrants was Murray Linder, who in 1927 came to the U.S. from Poland with his own bagel recipe. Then, in the early 1960s, he discovered a cool way to spread his love of the holy bagel.
Lender's was responsible for we'll call the bagelization of America. In the 1960s, with the advent of convenience foods, he formed a way to freeze bagels and make them available everywhere.
Today, Lender's makes about 2 million bagels every day. And at the Lender's factory in Mattoon, Illinois, each batch of bagels begins in the mixer where flour combined with water and corn syrup forming thick dough. Then, for this batch of onion bagels, buckets of toasted onions add in. After mixing, the 1,000-pound lump of dough, enough for around 10,000 bagels, dumps out. Next, dough rides up a conveyor and through a series of cuttings, eventually paring down the huge mass into individual dough balls which ride off to a machine called a former. Here, pressure forces bagel balls through a circular machine and around a mandrel, forming them into that familiar bagel shape. Next, the bagels ride to the indexer, which gently lowers the bagels onto cornmeal-covered beams, a step that actually prevents bagels from sticking. Then bagels ride and rise on their beams through the proofer.
The proofing chamber, while using humidity and temperature, allows us to get the volume we need in the dough to arrive at the next step of the process, which is the cooking.
And when it comes to cooking, the first step is a bath in boiling water.
We need it to help form a skin on the bagels. It allows them to get a sheen.
After a quick dip in the hot tub, the bagels drip dry on a mesh belt. Then head into a super hot oven. During their 10-minute ride, the bagels bake at temperatures over 500 degrees Fahrenheit.
There's multiple zones on the oven that allow us to do different things to the bagels, whether it be form the color, actually bake the dough, set the dough, volume and diameter can all be controlled through the oven process.
Once cool, the bagels jiggle into individual rows for slicing. Here, rotating blades cut each bagel almost completely in half.
We can't slice them all the way through because we wouldn't be able to, the halves would fall apart and we wouldn't be able to package them. But it's just enough so that the consumer can pull them apart and throw them in your toaster.
When it comes to breakfast,
Okay, scrambled eggs with peppers and cheddar.
nothing says bon appetit like French toast. The simple dish seems to have been around for just about as long as bread itself, but no one is quite sure if it's really French.
Is it really French? You know, I don't know the true origins of French toast. I would suspect that it's not.
Jean Antic knows her toast. In fact, that's what she named her Chicago restaurant, where French toast aficionados find some of the most decadent fried bread around.
It's just unbelievable.
And I especially like this French toast. It's very indulgent.
This is no ordinary French toast. To make each of these mini works of art, you must begin with the perfect loaf of bread.
The secret for French toast is you need stale bread. So it's best to have it left out 1 to 2 days. So then when you do put it in the egg wash, it absorbs the egg to make it nice and moist after you have it on the griddle.
The loaves are cut in half, the crusts removed, and divided into 4 generous breadsticks. This is where toast takes toast to a new level, injecting creamy mascarpone cheese filling or strawberry puree right into the French fingers. The bread is then dipped in batter and grilled on each side. If that isn't rich enough for you, how about a few toppings? Blueberries, strawberries, and powdered sugar are just the beginning.
I'm all for toppings on French toast, as many toppings as you could put. On our orgy, we have the fresh fruit, we have the granola, yogurt, and it's all drizzled with honey.
I like lots of stuff on there, and syrup. I mean, without syrup, you might as well be eating soggy bread.
People come from all over and sometimes endure long waits just for a taste of the ultimate toast. It's an American love affair with a French twist.
I think it's a comfort food. I think it hails back to childhood and just the fact that we tweak it a little bit. You have something new, but then you also have, you know, the reminiscence of the French toast that Mom probably made you.
Dig in and enjoy a sweet way to begin the day. Donuts delight fans with many shapes and sizes, flavors, fillings, and toppings. The very first donuts are thought to have arrived with Dutch settlers who brought their oil cooking techniques from Holland. Thus, the donut was born. At Hostess, these mini donuts have their own name, Donettes.
Hostess began making donuts in the 1930s as an inexpensive treat during the Depression era.
Today they make millions of these little gems at the Hostess Bakery in eastern Kansas.
The Hostess Company makes billions of donuts every year, and that's enough donuts to wrap around the world multiple times.
This is where the process begins. This is our gem donut mixing area. We make about 250 bowls a day.
Flour, sugar, and shortening start off the big batches of batter. Then, flavoring and other ingredients mix in. Would you believe this one batch is enough for about 23,000 donuts? Next, the batter raises up and fills the depositor. Then it's time for a swim in the hot oil for 60 seconds. Ever wonder why donuts have that hole in the middle?
The creation of the donut hole is thought to be the solution to prevent donuts from having a gooey center when they are removed from the fryers.
Once out of the fryer, the dough rings ride a cooling conveyor for 12 minutes. It's important every donut reaches a certain temperature before the next step, adding the coatings.
The range is 80 to 90 degrees. If you get outside that range, the coating does not stick to the product.
The cooled confection gets its crunch flavor as it passes under a glaze and a shower of sugar and coconut. If powdered sugar is more your style, check this out. The gems toss and turn, then tumble out of a coating machine. Conveyors move even more rings to an enrober for a good drenching of chocolate coating.
We go through about 100,000 pounds of chocolate a week.
Next, the chocolatey creations dry in another cooling tunnel. Then they meet up with all the other varieties at the packaging area.
We run 60 bags a minute through this line at about 22 donuts per bag.
The entire process to make every tasty handful from the fryer to the package takes just 15 minutes.
Families love the Hostess donuts because they're easy finger foods and they're great to grab when you're on the go.
Would you like to know where some of the most loyal donut lovers live? For that, you'll have to head to the largest city in Kentucky.
Louisville, Kentucky loves donuts the most in the U.S. Their favorite flavor is the chocolate donut, and they eat more donuts per capita than any other city in the U.S.
Whether you like them crunchy, sugary, or chocolatey, in a bag, sleeve, or up in the air, this morning munchie actually comes in handy any time of the day. For many cereal lovers, the day doesn't start without a rainbow of flavor in their breakfast bowl.
Fruity Pebbles is a rice-based cereal that has a blend of citrus flavors. And once you pour the bowl, you get a great burst of color. And once you pour the milk and take that first bite, it's an explosion of flavor in your mouth.
If you watch cartoons, you might think Fruity Pebbles surfaced sometime during the Stone Age. In fact, this crunchy, colorful creation hit the scene back in 1971.
Fruity Pebbles got its name because Post wanted to launch a cereal that was based and licensed by the Flintstones, which was a popular cartoon at the time. We specifically chose Pebbles because the president of Post felt like the character Pebbles looked a lot like his daughter.
Nowadays, Post serves up 55 million boxes of Fruity Pebbles every year.
In fact, it's enough boxes that if you line them up, we'd go from New York to New Zealand and still have a few left over.
The multicolored meal starts out as plain white rice, and lots of it. So much, in fact, it arrives at the factory in rail cars.
We use almost 735 billion grains of rice every year making Fruity Pebbles.
At this Post Foods plant in southern Michigan, workers unload the rice into giant cookers.
Here we bring together 1,400 pounds of long grain white rice, water, a bit of salt, and our colors to begin the process of manufacturing Pebbles.
They turn up the heat to 200 degrees Fahrenheit and let the rice cook. 20 minutes later, the steaming rice comes out with a hot, vibrant new look. Next, it heads to a holding area for what's called tempering. After 2 hours, the moisture in the rice evens out. This keeps it from breaking apart in the next step. Time to bring on the steamroller. Well, not quite. This big roller does about the same thing, though. Hundreds of pounds of pressure completely flatten the rainbow rice into flakes. That's right, they actually smoosh the rice to form its pebble-like shape. But these aren't true Fruity Pebbles until they puff them back up.
At this stage, we drive the moisture out of the flake at high temperature, blistering the surface of the flake and creating the texture that everyone loves this pebble.
That crispy texture forms very quickly in the toaster, which is a blistering 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Next up, the cereal takes a spin in what looks like a big washing machine.
In the coating reel, we add the flavor, vitamins, and liquid sugar. We then go through a dryer that gets us to our final texture of the Fruity Pebble product.
The fruity mix sails through a scale and seals up in a bag. Would you believe workers pack up 44 million pounds of Fruity Pebbles every year? From a town called Bedrock to breakfast tables across America, this rainbow food continues to be a morning mainstay.
Pikes Peak is the highest tourist destination here in the States. 14,110 feet.
Every year, more than 6 million tourists make their trek up this mountain outside Colorado Springs, Colorado, to visit the Summit House. But the attraction is not just the world-famous view.
They can see Kansas all the way from up here looking east.
They also come for the world-famous donuts.
Tastes good, nice and crisp on the outside, sweet on the inside.
During peak season, the Summit House on Pikes Peak serves more than 250,000 donuts.
They're world famous. You can't get them anywhere else.
They've come up with a special formula to cook these donuts at high altitude.
Well, the recipe at a lower altitude doesn't work. Wouldn't look the same, wouldn't taste the same. That's why it's a special donut, special recipe at this altitude.
It all starts with flour, sugar, and a certain blend of secret Rocky Mountain High ingredients.
Our secret ingredients help the donuts to rise just at this elevation. They really don't rise at anywhere else.
After the eggs, water, and vanilla comes milk, but not just any milk.
We use evaporated milk up at this elevation just because regular milk, if you bring it up in the gallon containers, it will explode just because of the increase in pressure. The evaporated milk is actually vacuum sealed, so it's not going to expand or contract with the pressure.
Once the batter's whipped up, it's time to crank out the donuts.
You can fit upwards of about 100 donuts in this deep fryer.
Each batch makes about 240 donuts. It only takes 2 to 4 minutes in the fryer, but the key to the crispy outside is to turn down the heat. 170 degrees Fahrenheit is ideal for deep frying these donuts.
Here on the Summit, we have to deep fry it at a different temperature so that the outside of the donut is crispy while the inside of the donut is nice and flaky. It gives you that rich, crispy taste.
You can't top these delicious donuts.
They're different than anything I've had before.
Served up with a side of scenery.
Easy snack to eat at 14,000 feet.
Welch's has always been a name synonymous with purple products. But did you know they also work at the opposite end of the color spectrum?
Welch's first started producing their jams and jellies in 1918 with a product called Grape Blade. And then in 1950s, we introduced orange marmalade.
Marmalade is a fruit spread usually used on breakfast breads like toast or English muffins.
Orange marmalade came from the ancient Greeks. Their doctors actually prescribed it to aid in digestion.
People around the world have been enjoying it ever since.
Marmalade actually was most popular in England, part of the traditional English breakfast, and then that came to the United States.
Its consistency makes it different from its jelly and jam cousins.
The difference between fruit spreads is simply the amount of fruit solids in the product. Jellies are made from fruit juice, jams are made from pureed fruit, and the third level of spreads is actually preserves, which is made from whole fruit.
For their marmalade, Welch's uses over 750,000 California oranges annually.
We're probably talking about somewhere 150 pounds of oranges to obtain enough of a quantity in order to make a batch of orange marmalade.
But it's the shredded orange peels that are the secret to making marmalade.
We're going to add the orange marmalade peel or orange peel to the batch, followed by some sugar and some orange concentrate.
It takes a lot of peels to give marmalade its citrus bite. Once the orange brew is fully mixed, it cooks and thickens inside sealed kettles called vacuum pans.
Our vacuum pans really remove a little bit of air, change the density, Then we move it to our finishing kettles where we add some citric acid and some pectin for thickening.
But before it can be bottled, the marmalade mix is thoroughly tested.
This is the final stage of sampling for our finished kettle batches of orange marmalade. This sample will be taken into our analytical lab where it will be tested for solids and for acid value.
Next, hot marmalade moves on to the filler.
One of the key reasons why we bottle the orange marmalade at in excess of 175 degrees is to, one, pasteurize, and two, the warmer we keep it, the more easily it flows through the filling process.
Marmalade pipes into over 200 plastic bottles every minute. The caps are placed on top and then they're also sterilized thanks to a topsy-turvy process called inversion.
Inversion means we basically put the bottle on the side to ensure that the top of the bottle gets sterilized. And we actually use the product in the bottle to ensure that sterilization.
Testing isn't limited to just the marmalade inside. The bottles and caps feel the pinch too when they pass through a squeeze tester.
And basically what that machine does, it gently squeezes the bottle and it's checking for any type of leak or break in the hermetic seal before it moves on to the sleeve applicator.
No, the labels aren't being put on upside down. It's just that these bottles are made for easy squeezing.
It's an inverted bottle. It has an easy to open cap, easy to squeeze cap, so you don't get all that sticky mess all over your hands when you try to use it.
These are the Millstone coffee roasters, and what they do is roast the coffee.
Row after row of barrels are cooking away, turning green coffee beans into every sort of gourmet roast you could imagine.
Millstone is a leading national supplier of gourmet coffee, and what we really provide is over 40 varieties of different blends, roasts, and flavors.
Millstone uses coffee beans from over 50 countries, each with a unique flavor. But they're all roasted in one of these big barrels, which holds 500 pounds of beans at a time, and they get hot.
If we're doing like a dark roasting, that could be like 454 degrees. A light roast may be 420 degrees. So it depends on if you want a light, medium, or dark roast.
Surprisingly, it only takes between 15 and 21 minutes to reach perfection.
Once we hit that roast temperature, we spray just a small amount of water on the coffee to stop the roast. And at that point, it is then dropped into the cooler, and that stirs the coffee and further cools it.
But at the Millstone plant, they don't just rely on their timers. Each batch of coffee goes through quality control. They take a sample from each roaster, grind it up, then make sure it's roasted to the correct color and that the beans aren't too dry. There's actually a big difference in the taste.
The dark roast generally gives you more of a bittersweet flavors, more bold flavors, and the medium coffees will give you a little bit more of the top notes or the delicate flavors, and the light roast will give you absolutely all the delicate top notes of the coffee.
And this head roaster knows what he's talking about when it comes to coffee flavors. He looks like the rudest coffee drinker in the world, but actually, he's just doing his job.
It takes years, and it does take special training.
This is called cupping, and he slurps to get the coffee over his tongue, which gives him a better sense of the flavor.
You have to take a soup spoon and aspirate it over your tongue because you want to make sure all parts of your tongue see the coffee and can experience the flavor. The interesting thing about it is there's a nice noise that goes along with that.
It's another way to make sure the coffee flavor and aroma are up to snuff. At Millstone, they roast and package millions of pounds of coffee each year. They have to keep up with America's insatiable thirst. Since 1963, kids everywhere have heard the call of the captain.
His full name is Captain Horatio Crunch, and he is a kind of grandfatherly, friendly character.
Captain Crunch cereal is a favorite for its ability to stay crunchy in milk. Beginning in 1967, berry balls were added to the mix to create Crunch Berries.
They're a combination of the biscuits that make up original Captain Crunch, and then these sweet, crunchy, round berries that are in all different colors, and those two things combined together create Crunch Berries.
So where are these crunch berries grown?
They come from crunchberry trees. They're located right here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Well, they don't really grow on trees, but this Quaker Oats plant yields 13 billion popcorn berries a year.
What this is the crunchberry tree seeds. What it really is our dry mix is a combination of flours and sugars that we start the product with.
To begin the berry making, bags of dry mix and coloring are loaded into a mixer.
After they're mixed well, we combine them with water and we put them in an extruder. And it's cut into the little berries.
But the berry flavors aren't in there quite yet. Enrobers spray the crunchy balls with a blend of real juice.
Then the berry is dropped into a drying oven, where over a series of several minutes, it dries the product to be ready to be packaged.
Then, those pillow-shaped yellow pieces called crunch biscuits are paired up with an equal number of berries, about 400 a box. They are each weighed, bagged, and boxed.
From the time a batch is made till the time it is dried ready is about 20 minutes.
Because the berries are so popular, evolution is inevitable.
Originally, we only made red. And today, we've got red, teal, purple, and green.
The beauty of these berries is that they won't spoil. They're made to have just as much crunch as their yellow counterparts.
We make sure that the berries, when put in milk, that they'll stay very, very crunchy.
It's really all about the crunch. If you were to cover your ears while you're eating Captain Crunch or Crunch Berries, the crunch is really quite loud.
For anyone on the move, a cup of yogurt can be a welcome sight, no matter what time of day.
I think that's one of the great things about yogurt is that it's very versatile. You can have it for breakfast. The drinkable yogurts are great for sort of an on-the-go snack. And even some yogurts can be consumed for dessert.
At the world's biggest yogurt plant, located in Minster, Ohio, Dannon cranks out 3 million gallons of yogurt every day. And most of it comes in portable plastic containers.
And I think that that's the kind of culture we are now. We like to be able to eat on the go. You can drink a smoothie for breakfast on the way to work in the car.
Thanks to microscopic assistants inside the yogurt called probiotics, this convenient snack is doing more than just helping hunger.
Probiotics are bacteria that, when consumed in sufficient quantities, have a benefit on the person who ate it.
Probiotic bacteria can help aid immunity, assist in digestion, or undo the damage that comes from a hectic lifestyle. It all begins with truckloads of raw milk.
The 50,000 cows that we rely on provide us with about 300,000 gallons of milk each day.
The main ingredient is just the beginning.
Once we've added key ingredients like sugar and starch and gelatin, we then repasteurize it for safety's sake, and then we transfer it into a holding tank where we add starter cultures.
The tiny catalysts known as live and active cultures transform the milk mix.
And that's what causes the milk to coagulate and gel and form the yogurt itself.
The next step depends on the type of yogurt being produced.
For the blended yogurt, you have big vats of yogurt, and then cups are filled with the yogurt after it's already fermented and become yogurt.
Fruit on the bottom, or set yogurt, has its own special process.
You have fruit that's put in on the bottom, and then the raw yogurt is put over top. And then the actual incubation and the turning of milk into yogurt happens in the cup.
Time will bring new flavors and new ways to take your yogurt with you, like drinkable yogurt. But Dannon's most useful evolution may have been the one from glass jars to paper and then plastic cups.
It's much easier to carry around a cup or a small bottle of yogurt rather than toting around a big glass jar, absolutely.
In the early 1940s, Italy found itself in the middle of World War II. As was common during wartime, many foods were rationed or expensive, including chocolate. But master confectioner Pietro Ferrero had an idea. He mixed cocoa with locally grown hazelnuts to make a product he called pasta giangiua. This way, everyone could enjoy inexpensive chocolate.
Mothers would slice it up and put it in between 2 slices of bread as a sandwich for their children, for a breakfast or lunch, or maybe as an afternoon snack.
But once out of sight, kids would toss the bread and eat just the chocolate. So Ferrero went back to the drawing board and reinvented the product as a spread. And in 1964, the name was changed to Nutella. It was introduced to the U.S. in 1985, and 10 years later, the Ferrero Company opened a Nutella plant in Somerset, New Jersey. Today, the New Jersey plant alone churns out between 40 and 50 tons of Nutella every day. When making Nutella, the process starts with a 1-ton bag of hazelnuts imported from Italy.
In New Jersey, we use about 1,300 tons of hazelnuts per year.
But before the nuts are deemed worthy of the Nutella label, they're first inspected for moisture content. Then, nuts are loaded into a roaster where heat brings out more of the nut's flavor. Next, roasted nuts move to the first mixing process, blending with other main ingredients such as milk, sugar, and of course, cocoa to form a rough paste.
We use about 700 tons of cocoa a year and about 500 tons of milk.
After the first blending, the mix moves onto a refiner, which makes the Nutella nice and smooth. At this point, however, the mixture is still not creamy enough, and one special process remains.
The final blending of Nutella is done with some equipment that was designed by our own engineers in Europe. So I think this is a part of the process that is kind of unique and nobody else is using.
Finally, the Nutella is done, and it makes its way to a holding tank where it waits to be jarred. While it may look quick and simple, one batch of Nutella takes between 4 and 5 hours to complete. And although Nutella has been produced for nearly 50 years, the folks at Ferrero take nothing for granted. Samples of each batch eventually end up here, in the Quality Control Lab, where they undergo testing for moisture, and for good reason.
Chocolate and water don't mix well together, so we always try to stay away from humidity.
But if the wrong amount of moisture is detected, production is shut down and nothing leaves the factory. It's a step allowing Nutella to stay safely in the cupboard.
Nutella has a long shelf life. There's no moisture in it, so we think that after 1 year you can still eat it.
But they also admit that rarely does this chocolatey treat sit around for that long.
I like it better than peanut butter. Me too.
Bringing home the bacon used to mean frying it up yourself, but not anymore. Now you can have your bacon without ever picking up a pan.
You can eat it straight out of the package because it is fully cooked.
Tyson introduced its fully cooked bacon in 2003.
Fully cooked bacon's been around for 10 years, but most people still don't know about it.
And today in Omaha, Nebraska, the Tyson plant devotes itself entirely to bacon.
It's actually the largest bacon facility under one roof in the world.
More than 1 million slices of bacon sizzle up here every day. Fully cooked bacon starts out just like the traditional kind, with pork bellies.
Each pig actually has 2 bellies. If you slice yourself down the middle, you got 2 bellies on either side.
The fresh pork bellies arrive in 2,000-pound boxes. After passing inspection, they unload and head off down the conveyor. First, a machine removes the skins, and then the slabs of pork begin the curing process. This involves injecting the meat with a solution of water, salt, sugar, and other ingredients.
We're using approximately 120,000 pounds of salt a week and about 80,000 pounds of sugar.
Workers hang cured bellies on special hooks and then load them into a massive smokehouse.
We can hold approximately 42,000 pounds of pork bellies in the smokehouse and process those at one time.
Hickory wood chips shovel into burners, supplying the smoke that gives the bacon its distinctive taste. After smoking at 130 degrees for more than 7 hours, the bacon tempers for up to 2 days in a refrigerated warehouse. The chilled blocks then press inside a forming machine, making it easier to slice the meat later. After several more days of cooling, the bacon is ready for slicing. The blocks load into automatic carvers, cutting them into 250 perfectly sized slices of bacon. Then the bacon cooks by riding through a gigantic microwave. This Amana radar line runs 100 feet long. After about 3 minutes inside, the bacon emerges perfectly cooked. Each day, 30,000 packs of this normally perishable pork oink out of the plant, requiring no refrigeration.
It is shelf stable. The fact that we have such low moisture activity within the product after we cook it, and then we package it correctly, because we package it immediately after it's cooked, means that it's shelf stable, so it can stay out and not be refrigerated.
And crispiness is just a matter of timing. In the microwave, that is.
Difference in 30 seconds whether you want it crispy or soft.
When you grow up, would you like to be a fireman? Everybody knows they eat Cheerios. Each day.
For many of us, this cheery little O was our first food with a hole.
If you know your oats, you too will go for the Power Breakfast Cheerios.
Cheerios got their place at the breakfast table way back in 1941. But at the time, they were sold as Cheery Oats, the first ready-to-eat oat cereal.
Cheerios, made from oats, need no cooking.
Cheerios was never a hot cereal, but it was invented as a convenient alternative to making hot cereal.
And in 1945, the folks at General Mills changed its name to Cheerios.
We were challenged by someone who felt they had the legal rights to the term oats in the name. But Cheerios has proven to be much better.
In early ads, Cheerios saddled up with a superhero spokesman called the Lone Ranger. He started every day not with a "Hi-oh silver," but with a Cheery-ho.
For 20 years, he started his day with a Cheerio breakfast as part of his regimen.
Each day you'll get go power like a cowboy if you know your oats and eat Cheerios.
And while advertisements and packaging have changed over the years, the shape has remained the same.
Ironically, Cheerios were first described as mini donuts.
In fact, it's that familiar little O that helps Cheerios perform a multitude of tasks.
It's what helps them float, makes them fun to peek through, easy to string on a necklace, and it is what helps them dissolve easily in a child's mouth.
Today, Cheerios are so popular, about 10 million of the bright yellow boxes are made each month.
Today, 1 in 10 boxes of cereal eaten is a Cheerios box.
Some fans even take them wherever they go.
I know of an incredible Cheerio fanatic, a gentleman in California who has our barcode tattooed to his bicep.
Rustle up some muscle with Cheerios.
He's a well-known country crooner with a couple of hit singles to his name.
And everybody knew you didn't give no lip to Big John.
But this star's biggest fame comes not from a song, but from a meal. Breakfast.
Jimmy Dean and breakfast are synonymous. Not too many people know this, but the very first slogan that this business utilized was, "Have a good breakfast, have a good day."
The singer first got into the breakfast business back in 1969 after he bought part of a hog farm from a cousin. And he needed a way to turn pigs into profit.
His first product was a roll sausage. The roll sausage was made with the same spice blend that had been carried down from Jimmy's grandfather.
Today, Jimmy Dean is using that sausage in over 300 million breakfast sandwiches a year, which are built at their factory in Florence, Alabama. Here, millions of pounds of patties first form into shape and cook up with steam and heat. Then they're sent into a special quick freeze machine, locking in their shape and flavor. The next step is the bread, and these days that often means a croissant.
The original Jimmy Dean sandwich was a sausage, egg, and cheese on a biscuit. And that is an old Southern recipe. As we evaluated American tastes, we introduced the sausage, egg, and cheese on a croissant.
The croissants are cut in half and conveyed down to the assembly section. Here's where everything comes together. a patty of meat, a circle of egg, a slice of cheese. And the way these sandwiches are put together isn't random. It's the result of research.
We do extensive work on the ratio between the meat and the bread to make certain that it meets America's appetite.
Whether they care about the order of the ingredients or not, Americans do seem to like their sausage, egg, and cheese. Breakfast sandwich sales are going strong. And by the way, so is the company's founder.
Jimmy is doing fine. He is 78 years old, but he is still going strong.
Get yourself a large chunk of that good morning feeling.
What's easy, cheesy, and makes breakfast a breeze?
It is toast and a sandwich. When you put the things together, it's a toastwich.
It's a grab-and-go goodie that goes straight from the freezer to the toaster.
Whoop! Toastwich time.
The Toastwich is Schwan's version of an American classic, the grilled cheese, but with a top secret twist.
Magic cheese really has a lot to do with it.
You heard right, magic cheese. The people at Schwan spent 1 year developing a cheddar filling that would melt without making a mess, leaving a clean toaster every time.
It does not leak because of our magic cheese. I mean, that is truly the secret behind the Toastwich sandwich.
The exact formula is under wraps, but there's still plenty to see at the Schwan's plant in Marshall, Minnesota. It all starts with fresh dough made up of salt, sugar, yeast, flour, shortening, and water that swirl around a spiral mixer. 6 minutes later, the dough is pressed through a series of reduction rollers until it's flatter than a pancake.
By the time we get down to the end of the line, we're down to about a 1/16 of an inch dough thickness.
Every Toastwich has to have crunch. The secret? A thin layer of crispy breadcrumbs is sprinkled on both sides of the dough. Now, for the filling. Check out these numbers. They use 1,500 pounds of bacon, 3,000 pounds of cheese, and plenty of scrambled eggs.
Each day, we use 41,000 eggs to produce 90,000 Toastwiches.
A machine drops dollops of filling, enough for 200 Toastwiches a minute. And to top it off, another layer of dough.
The product then goes through a series of cutters where it's stamped out to a perfect shape and size every time.
A squirt of oil, and these shapely squares are ready to begin the two-step cooking process. Here's how they do it. A special grill cooks the top and bottom at the same time. Then the Brunchables are baked in an oven that's 50 feet long.
The product then enters an inline convection oven where it receives its final bake at about 475 degrees for 2.5 minutes.
The last step is a chilly one.
Once it's manufactured, it's quickly frozen and it's down to 20 below. It's always at one constant temperature, and that's going to hold in the flavor and the freshness.
45 freezing minutes later, it's a wrap. From beginning to end, it's about an hour and a half to make a Toastwich, but it only takes a couple of minutes to heat them up at home. This huge warehouse is the tea world's version of a winery. It belongs to a company called Rishi Teas. Row after row is piled high with boxes of exotic teas and spices.
We have about 120 different types of tea. We import close to 200 different types of raw ingredients.
With that kind of inventory, you can guess Rishi Tea has a booming business. And one of the best sellers is a tea blend that was little known just a decade ago.
Within the U.S., chai has become very popular. It gives great energy. It has a flavor, I think, that appeals to a lot of Westerners.
In tea rooms around the country, chai is the equivalent of a frothy hot latte, a spiced and sweet milk tea without the jolt.
The caffeine in coffee is a little too much for me, so I tend to drink teas because it's a slower kind of arc with the caffeine in tea.
Coffee's too bitter for me, so I like chai. It's more flavorful and spicy.
But the secret to a good chai is in the blend, and everyone makes it a little bit differently. At Rishi Tea, the master blender puts together each batch of chai from a surprisingly long list of spices.
Black tea, licorice root, ginger, cardamom, star anise, black pepper, clove, and rooibos.
The black tea and spices are blended together by hand in a special mixing room.
This is organic cardamom.
Chai means tea in Hindi. But what Americans think of chai is really an Indian milk drink that can have any range of spices. Rishi's developed its own blend, but the kitchen equipment is unusual.
Things like ginger, the particle size is so small, the dust really creates a breathing hazard, in addition to gumming up your eyes, so we wear these.
Once that task is done, the tea blend is put into a special bag.
That's a tea bag.
And then this giant tea bag becomes a giant cup of tea. The chai concentrate is brewed at a local microbrewery where Rishi rents one of the kettles.
The tank essentially functions as a large cup of tea that's continually heated as the bags infuse.
What's in this kettle will make 150 gallons of chai concentrate.
And then that is bottled and yields approximately 2,400 cups of chai.
And that's a whole lot of caffeine. But in a cup-for-cup comparison, chai lovers say caffeine isn't what counts.
You get some caffeine from the black tea that's in chai, but there's also other botanicals as well that are very invigorating and energizing, and chai has a different sort of uplift to it than coffee does.
You can find chai tea in specialty shops and in some grocery stores. Just add milk and heat at home. It's a simple egg dish that's been hitting it big at brunch time for a long time. In fact, legend has it, in the 1860s, Chef Charles Ranhofer created Eggs Benedict at Delmonico's restaurant in New York City. But he needed a little help to make this mid-morning masterpiece.
Mr. and Mrs. Legrand Benedict was tired with the Delmonico's menu, saying it hadn't changed in years. So with the help of Chef Ranhofer, they created the new dish, where they took 2 poached eggs, ham, put it on a biscuit, and covered it with hollandaise. Thus, Eggs Benedict was born.
Today, this dish is popular worldwide, especially with Josh Karp. He's made it his passionate pastime to review Eggs Benedict at brunches all over New York City.
Originally, I started cooking Eggs Benedict on my own. I saw a recipe and I loved the dish. And my best friend Wendy tells me, hey, stupid, restaurants can make this for you. You don't have to. So I've been eating it once every week for years since then.
Since 1996, Josh has reviewed about 150 different Eggs Bennies on his website, foodie.org, making him something of an expert. And today at the Waldorf Astoria in Midtown Manhattan, he's digging into a little research. But back in the kitchen, the secret to an exceptional Eggs Benedict seems to be in the sauce.
The hollandaise made from scratch with good quality butter, lemon juice, cayenne pepper, salt, and the egg, that's it.
And traditionally, the eggs part of the Benedict are poached for about 4 minutes.
Good fresh egg is going to poach nice, going to stay nice and plump and firm, and yet stay soft on the inside. And that's what you want, so when you cut into it, the egg yolk runs out.
Then they land on a bed of crispy English muffin and Canadian bacon for texture, followed by a heaping of hollandaise. On this Sunday, the Waldorf's version of this classic dish delivers the goods for this eggy author and has all the makings of a tasty review.
The flavors were incredibly fresh. It was beautifully presented. Today's was a 5-star dish.
Cranberries and cranberry juice have been big news in recent years, claiming tons of health benefits, all from a little berry.
Cranberries are great to cleanse and purify your body, to help strengthen your immune system, as well as for the heart.
Leading the way in research and production is Ocean Spray, headquartered in Middleborough, Massachusetts. And in order to pull in at #1, they need to grow lots of berries.
We take 4,563 cranberries straight from the bog to make a gallon of Ocean Spray cranberry juice.
And they've been doing it for 76 years.
Ocean Spray was formed in 1930 when 3 growers got together to pool their crop to find a home and a market for it.
Now, there are over 800 independent farms in the Ocean Spray family. The cranberry season starts in the spring, but it's the harvest in October that gives us the image of the cranberry farmer among the berries. The cranberry bogs are flooded and farmers use specially designed equipment to gather the ruby red fruits.
We'll actually thrash the berries off of the vines with a harvester, with a reel that spins around very fast and knocks the berries off the vines, at which point they float.
What makes them float? Cranberries actually have clover-shaped air pockets inside that bring them to the surface.
There you go, lucky fruit.
From there, the berries are pushed from the water's edge and gathered in the center of the bog.
Right now I'm pulling about a trailer's worth of berries. I know, I don't look that strong, but I'd surprise you.
The tiny fruit is then pumped into large trucks. After the trucks come in with fresh berries, the crop is processed into juices and sauce.
There are 7.5 million barrels of cranberries harvested each year in North America, enough to string the world's largest cranberry garland from Boston to LA and back 565 times.
Of those 175 billion cranberries, only 10% are packaged as fresh produce. And that's no simple process. It's one that involves age-old quality control and high-tech equipment side by side.
Cranberries actually go through a decades-old process of going through a bounce board. It was developed in the 1800s as a way to sort the fruit. Cranberries have air pockets in them, so they bounce when you drop them.
The best berries will bounce the highest. So if they can hop the board in the 1920s Bailey separator, they are good. The firmest and bounciest berries will move on down the line.
The next part of the process is that the cranberries will go through an ultraviolet light, where people will inspect them visually. And the cranberries that are purplish in color are the freshest, firmest, best cranberries to go into fresh fruit.
The cranberries that pass all of these tests are finally ready for packaging.
In the United States, we sell about $1 billion worth of cranberries to retailers. Americans consume 400 million pounds of cranberries each year, and 20% of that during the Thanksgiving season.
Rise and shine, it's time for breakfast. As you munch away on your favorite cereal, ever wonder what goes into making it?
We wanted to create a product that kids would love.
Since 1961, Malto Meal Company has been making those affordable supersized bags of cereal oddly similar to the better-known brands. Take these Marshmallow Mateys. They're the equivalent to Lucky Charms.
You have to love the marshmallows. That's what really makes Marshmallow Mateys.
Here at Malto Meal's Northfield, Minnesota factory, cereal makers crank out over 1 million bowls of the colorful puffs every day.
The Marshmallow Mateys process begins when you take flour and several other dry ingredients, mix them together to form a dough. And that dough is then cooked at high temperatures with steam and water, and then pressed into small pellets.
While the pellets are sent through big dryers, workers make a sweet vitamin-filled coating. That yummy goodness sticks to them as they bounce around in giant tumblers.
It's very important and critical the rates at which we coat the product so that we don't get too much sugar on the cereal and we get just the right amount of flavoring and vitamins.
While the sweetened pellets travel through a series of more dryers and sorters, it's time for the star of the bowl, the marshmallows.
Marshmallow Mateys is over 20% marshmallows.
We wanted to have a pirate theme. So we've got marshmallows in the shape of a treasure chest, a parrot, dolphins, a sword, a jewel, multiple colors.
475-pound totes of those marshmallows drop in hoppers and blend with the pellets. Finally, they're ready for the bag.
The robots have the ability to pack any case configuration that we program it to. We can produce over 200,000 bags of Marshmallow Mateys in one day,
making these guys the fastest growing cereal manufacturer in the U.S.
We have over 25 ready-to-eat cereals today, and we continue to grow in the marketplace. We really try and provide affordable family favorites, a great quality cereal.
And they say it's cereal moms can feel good about serving their kids.
I think people would be surprised by the fact that our cereal base is made with whole grain oat flour, and it creates a very nutritious product while being delicious.
No complaints here. In 1991, the Kellogg Cereal Company transformed the morning meal into a portable breakfast bar.
Nutri-Grain bars were introduced as a way for people to take cereal on the go. It's a great tasting, wholesome alternative to other kind of popular breakfast snacks like donuts, muffins, and pastries.
Out of 6 fruit flavors, strawberry is the #1 seller. In 1 year, 30 million pounds of fruit fillings squeeze into these baked bars.
We make 74 million pounds of Nutri-Grain cereal bars a year. That equates to close to 5,000 school buses worth of weight of Nutri-Grain cereal bars.
The batter starts out in a huge mixer that blends the ingredients. One batch makes more than 10,000 bars.
We make dough in batches using flour, honey, sugar, oats, and water.
You can't see it, but the fruit paste gets mixed, heated, and the filling meets the dough as it presses through an extruder.
If you could envision a tube of toothpaste being squeezed, the dough would come out with the filling at that point already inside of it.
A blade cuts the long rope of extruded dough into 4-inch bars, and a bran topping sprinkles on top. After the garnish, rows and rows of bars ride up and down conveyor belts. How many can you count?
We make roughly 4 million individual Nutri-Grain bars every day.
Next up, these babies hit the heat. This oven is almost as long as a football field. It takes 1 hour to make 1 batch. Whether these breakfast bars are a stand-in for cereal or a snack, you don't have to be in your kitchen when you get a craving.
The bars are eaten by people who are on the go. They're busy, and they want to grab something that's really easy to take with them as they head out the door.
Laboratories, scientists, elaborate machines. They're all a part of Eggland's best ongoing quest to build the better egg. Of course, people have been pretty happy with eggs for a long time. In fact, egg eating dates back to at least 3000 BC in places like Egypt and India. But fast forward a few thousand years and suddenly eggs were coming under scrutiny because of high cholesterol.
Consumers had cut back and had really very much reduced their consumption of eggs from about 350 eggs a year to about 230 eggs a year.
So in 1992, a group of egg producers hatched an idea to create a healthier egg. The result? Eggland's best eggs, averaging about 25% lower in saturated fats. And it takes some special science to create a special egg. Starting with what feed their 100 million select hens are fed. At the Eggland's Best Laboratory in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, technicians test feed samples to make sure they're meat-free.
What we do is we add a test strip, which actually gives us either a positive or a negative on whether there's animal byproducts in the feed or not.
But the scientific analysis doesn't end with what chickens eat. The bulk of the 45,000 tests are done to the eggs themselves to make sure they're low on cholesterol and high on nutrients. And one of the most important tests is also the simplest, comparing egg yolk to a special color chart. And since a darker yolk means more nutrients in the egg, the yolk must be a deep yellow to pass inspection. Then things get a little more complex for the next test, measuring fat and cholesterol content. To do that, techs first blend up batches of eggs, freeze-dry them, and combine them with an organic solvent responsible for helping draw the cholesterol out. Next, the blend is put into special vials and placed in a machine called a gas chromatograph.
What it does is it changes the sample from a liquid that we put into the vial to a gas right away. And it detects exactly how much cholesterol is in the sample and how much vitamin E is in the sample.
The gas is then analyzed by a computer, which gives exact readings on what's in the eggs. Eggland's Best says all that science means their eggs are not only healthier, but more flavorful. which means anyone can perform the most vital test of all, the taste test.
We have been awarded in 2003, 2004, and 2005 the award of America's Best Tasting Egg by the American Culinary Institute.